Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and it's that time again. We're going to be taking a look at stuff for sale on Facebook. Why do I do it to myself? Okay, so today we're going to take another look at items for sale on Facebook. Now, this is one of those things which I enjoy doing, but at the same time, I actually hate doing as well because it gets me really wound up. I've already drank far too much coffee, so this is probably not a great idea to be making this video right now, but let's do it anyway. Let's do it for the people. So, I'm on Facebook in the marketplace and I've typed in, why did I do it? I've typed in gaming PC. Now, for most people, gaming PC has a certain kind of meaning to it. Generally, it means a PC of a high enough spec to play the latest games at acceptable resolutions. So, realistically, a modernish rig, a Ryzen rig, maybe an FX rig at a push. Definitely an i5 or an i7, and preferably an Intel processor that's been made in this decade. So, what will we find? Well, the first one which has come to mind is this one. It's an i7 Alienware Area 51 gaming tower. They want £315 for that. So let's take a look and see what we're actually likely to get. Okay, so the big picture at the moment, what we can see is it's definitely got a 1200 watt power supply. Is it likely to need that? Very unlikely. Now let's look at some of the other specs. So we've got 30 gigs of DDR. Hang on. 30 gigs of DDR. Is that even possible? How many slots has it got? Right, it's got 6 slots on that board, so that actually gives it a kind of an age already. So it's an Intel i7, that's probably the first lot of i7s, so the i7-920 or something along those lines. It doesn't actually say, so we don't have a clue. Let's just click on more. Oh, no, not much more information there. It's got an LG DVD reader. Great news, just what we always wanted. So that's still freaking me out actually. Looking at the memory modules, it looks like we've got a whole mishmash of memory there. There's a couple of red sticks, there's a black HyperX, and there looks like to be at least 3 kind of generic PCB type RAM modules rather. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments, how did they work that out? 30 gigs, that's got to be quite an unusual setup. And I would imagine it's probably, actually is that possible? If it's triple channel, 10 gigs on each one, so no, that'd be a 6 plus a 4. Is that even a thing? Probably not. I'm really confused already. This is the first PC. I love Facebook, what a great place. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of it. So the video cards are GTX 260s, and there's 2 of them, 2 gigabytes each with an SLI bridge. So the GTX 260 isn't really a great card. It wasn't when it came out, and it really isn't now. 120 gig SSD, 240 gig hard drive. Wow, that's old. Did they even do 240 gig hard disk drives? I thought they were 80s, 160s, 320s, 500s, terabytes. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Well, it's got Windows 10, so that's a good start. It could have had Vista on it for how old it is. Good from multi-monitors. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other pictures of this. So there we can see the 2 graphics cards, and what on earth is that at the front? Some kind of dip switch thing going on there. The cabling is pretty awful. The power supply is a nice power supply, it's got plenty of juice, but it just looks awful. And the cards look to be relatively matching, although the bottom one's certainly a lot dirtier, or is that just the angle? I don't know. I'm a bit sort of weirded out by that cooler, and I'm still actually quite weirded out by the RAM setup. That's a very odd setup. So looking at that looks like a Zalman fan of some sort, but I don't know what. And there's some weird stuff going on with the wiring over there with a Molex connector just tucked in there. That must be for the fan. Looks to me as if that power connector actually isn't plugged in correctly either. That could be a potential issue. Is that me, or is that the picture, or is that not plugged in right? Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next picture. So there we go. See, a little bit of cable management might have gone a long way to kind of rescue that a little bit. But I suppose when it's got a case on, when it's got the sides on, you're not going to see it, so does it really matter? And actually, that is quite a classic design, so yeah, okay. £315 though, I don't know, that is a little bit troublesome. You can see the age of the machine at the front there. We've got the Firewire port on the front and the color-coded headphone and mic jacks. We haven't seen those for a while, have we? Well, not on high-end equipment anyway. Right, next. Right, this one looks interesting already. £202. That's a pretty specific price right there. And it's a gaming computer. Well, that narrows it down significantly. So it's a CyberPower PC in a Cooler Master case. So let's look at the description. Selling my custom-built gaming computer, nothing wrong with it, just looking to upgrade. See spec in pictures, can delivery for a fee or free depending on how close you are. Let's have a look, see what we get for our £202. Okay, so we have to read that pretty carefully. So it's a Cooler Master Elite 310. It's a AMD FX 8120. Okay, so already £202 is possibly looking a little bit on the steep side because it's an old FX. The 8120 was, I believe, was part of the first release of FX chips. It's a shame we can't actually see the order date on the paperwork. That would have been interesting to see when they actually bought it. So it's got Microsoft Office Starter Edition, 2010 version, so that gives you some idea of how old it would be. A water cooling system, 120mm, water cooling ring, Seagate 1TB hard drive, a Gigabyte GA78 LMT USB 3 motherboard. So that motherboard new would have retailed for about £50 to £55 because I've had quite a few of those actually. Kingston DDR3, 4GB, just one of those is it? So 4 gigs of RAM, an FX 8120. It doesn't even mention a graphics card. No, it doesn't mention a graphics card at all from what I can tell. So there's the case itself, and we've got, by the looks of it, we have got a graphics card because I can see an HDMI port on the back there, a DVI-D port, and what looks to be a VGA port. So again, that dates it slightly. We've got 2 antennas missing from the Wi-Fi card, but maybe they're lying around somewhere. Actually, that's inside the guy's car. Different. So yeah, we've got water cooling there. It's not particularly nice, even though it's got a side window on it. It looks like there's a button possibly missing there. Maybe it's the picture. Can't quite work out from there. But £202, if it's only got 4 gigs of RAM, it seems a bit much. Let's go through it. So the case itself, £20, processor maybe 40, DVD drive 10, water cooler 30, Seagate 1TB maybe 20, £30, motherboard £30, 4 gigs of DDR3, £20, Windows 7, Cooler Master power supply 500 watt, another £20 or so, EDMAX wireless £10. I don't know, we're getting close to the value. I suppose if you break it down into individual bits, the £200 mark isn't out of the question, but it's 2019, it's an FX 8100 series. Moving on. Let's see what else takes our fancy in this. Wow. Okay, this one's an interesting one. Gaming PC setup. So let's take a look at this one. Now this is £360 and you get the stickers for free on the side, which is nice. So the specs of this one. So it's a GTX 750 Ti, Asus motherboard, 8 gigs of HyperX RAM, comes with a SteelSeries RGB gaming mouse and a RGB mechanical E-element keyboard. A Acer 24-inch monitor, extended full desk mouse keyboard mat, great starter setup. So that is everything. So keyboard, mouse, the lot, lock, stock and barrel. So you buy this, you get it home, you plug it in and you're up and running, that's it. You may need something like a wireless adapter or something like that, but other than that, it's all pretty much here. And the stickers actually, there's something weird, it kind of, in some ways it cheapens it, but in other ways it actually makes it look pretty cool. It's definitely unique. So the case itself, not too sure about the case, but it looks okay. It looks like it's got plenty of ventilation. We've got a dual slot graphics card, which is the GTX 750 Ti. The Ti is obviously a bit of a step up from the 750, so it's probably a 4 gig card, although it doesn't state it on there. So 4 gig card, 8 gigs of RAM. But we don't know what the processor is. And no idea. So I would say that's an AMD setup. Not entirely sure. AMD fan. Cable management could do with a little bit of tweaking, but other than that, it's not too bad. The case has got USB 3, but there's no USB 3 header on the board from what I can tell. So again, that dates it. I would imagine that is a AM3 Plus board. It's got hybrid CFX on there, so that was the old kind of crossfire thing that was for onboard graphics with AMD stuff back in, was that 2010 maybe? It does look pretty awesome. The stuff that you're getting with it, The keyboard, the mouse, the monitor, all adds up to be a pretty decent bundle. We don't really know much about it other than that. It's got a few dents in the case, so maybe that knocks it down a bit. Not overly bad. It would have been fantastic to know more about the spec. The processor would be a big thing. So you break it down, arguably £200-ish for the PC, 160 for the keyboard, monitor, mouse. So not out of the question, but again, would have been nice to have seen what is actually inside that box. Okay, so let's have a look, see what else we've got. Oh, this would be an interesting one. A Zoostorm PC full setup. This is £130. So if this is a whole setup, that's actually not that crazy. Now it includes a 23-inch screen, Dell keyboard, Dell mouse, Dell speakers and a webcam, Core i3 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, Windows 10, Windows full suite. Now if you're actually just needing a PC to do some office work and that's it, this is absolutely great. 23-inch monitor, even used, you're probably looking about 50, 60, 70 pounds depending on the make and model. The keyboard, mouse, speakers, etc. and webcam, 20 pounds. So to get an i3 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, Windows 10 and Office and be ready to go, £130. Actually that is a bargain. And the screen is a Dell screen, so an i3, a Core i3 processor. Again, don't say which one it is, but even if it's maybe a 2120, something like that, with 4 gigs of RAM, Windows 10 on there, absolutely fine as a productivity machine. And for £130, you're up and running. You could spend £130 a lot worse. You could go out and buy a tablet, one of those sort of cheapy Android tablets, and have nowhere near the same amount of flexibility for getting actual work done than you would on this machine. So although initially it seems like, oh dear, actually that is value for money. It may not be up your street and it may not be a gaming PC. It definitely isn't a gaming PC. Well, you probably could play games on it like Solitaire and some really basic Windows Store games. But other than that, actually, not that bad. Happy days. Right, this one's very interesting. My gaming PC, it's pretty fast, work too much and play it. Decent processor, AMD Phenom 2 overclockable. £200, and this is got 4 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive and a 2 gigabyte graphics card. Don't know much about computers. This is just a basic starter. Set up, inbox me for details or comment an offer. Let's have a look and see what the pictures tell us. No, that is it. So granted, they've been honest and said they don't know much about computers, but that right there is a picture of a backplate. That is of no help whatsoever. You might as well have taken a picture of your front door. More details would have been needed. Okay, so we've bummed out on that one. Let's take a look at one more and then we will definitely call it a day. Okay, here's an interesting one. So this is a gaming PC and it is 6 months old and it's £680. So £680 is actually a lot of money for a used computer. So let's take a look at it. So this is also on Gumtree, and check the Gumtree link above. Right, first rule of Facebook, don't add extra links. If you can't be bothered, don't list it. I'm not even going to go there. Even though I recognise that case, well I don't recognise it, but that case is a InWin, it looks like a 101 in black, which is what kind of piqued my interest a little bit. But if you can't be bothered to put it in there, I'm not going to look at it. Okay, let's try one more. And hopefully we'll get something decent out of this. Although I'm not gonna hold my breath. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at this one because they want £1,234,567. Clearly that is not what they want, but this does look actually pretty awesome. So this is a gaming PC, i5 8th gen with an 8GB video card. And let's see, so let's look at the specs more so. So actually, let's see how much they want for it somewhere. Do they actually say anywhere? No. Okay, let's read it. Okay, so there is no actual thing there that says how much they want. So the spec is a Sapphire RX 580 Nitro, 8 gig. So that's probably £200 thereabouts, 150 to £200. The i5 3 gig, 8th gen, I don't know. 150, 16 gigs of RAM, another 100. Thermaltake PC case, which actually is pretty stunning. That's a really, really nice actual water cooling setup they've got there. Does look pretty good. The pictures don't really quite do it justice, but it does actually look really nice. Yeah, that's a pretty good job. The power supply is another thing there, though. We've got ketchup and mustard good up on the power supply. Why would you do that on a PC, which is so see-through? That's not great. I kind of like the CD-ROM on the back there. That's actually quite a cool little thing. But yeah, the ketchup and mustard going on the cables, that's a bit of a waste. Nice water block, nice Corsair cooler, fantastic motherboard. And the graphics card mounted vertically looks awesome. Yeah, PC is 7 months old and never been more than 50 degrees Celsius. Nothing overclocked on it. Sell because I don't have time to use. Coming with DVD reader, Corsair RGB keyboard and Cobra gaming mouse. So we need a price. We don't know how much it is. That is a really key thing about buying and selling. If you're trying to sell something, tell people how much you want for it. If you put 1,234,600 and whatever it was pounds, clearly that is not what you want for it. Let's have a rough estimate of what you want for it. Maybe put, I don't know, £1,000 or nearest offer, something along those lines, just to clear it up a little bit, just so people aren't like completely frazzled by the whole thing and you don't get bombarded with crazy emails saying, I'll give you 200 quid for it. Anyway, so I've had about as much as I can handle of Facebook Marketplace and these PCs. They're not actually that bad this time round. A few obvious problems, like, well, not having a price if you're selling things is one thing. The cabling on the Area 51, again, not totally bad prices on these things. Given the current PC market, it's a really weird time to be buying or selling at the moment. There's new stuff about to come out. There's old stuff in circulation. People are trying to keep hold of the value of what they bought. RAM prices were absolutely crazy, as were graphics card prices. So people are obviously trying to resell those things at, again, reasonable prices to try and recover some of their losses or investment, however you look at it. Anyway, that's enough of that. This has been Facebook. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. And if there's anything you'd like to comment on or suggest for future videos, stick it in the section below and I'll read it, and you never know, I might even take some notice of it. See you in the next one. Cheers.